It's Monday. Good morning, good midday, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're catching this. Thomas Miller, thanks for joining us on the Fun Astrology Podcast, kicking off Monday, February 17th, with Mars in Capricorn. Now, actually, this happened yesterday, but the big thunder yesterday was, of course, Mercury Retrograde. It is back in effect, and we covered that in depth yesterday in the dedicated the entire podcast to it with my somewhat awkward and unique perspective on Mercury Retrograde. You can catch that. What's kind of funny is right after I released the podcast, I started working on an audiobook for Fred Dodson, and I had more. Now, look, I have done 27 audiobooks for Fred, and I've done about another 27 or 30 for other people. So I've got my 10,000 hours behind the microphone doing audiobooks. I have never had problems like I did yesterday. And it wasn't even in retrograde yesterday during the day when I was doing this. This was in the morning. So I don't know. I was just, by noon, I was exhausted. But anyway, we'll see how this one goes. It's in Pisces. Okay, Mars in Capricorn. Let's stay there for this one. It's going to be shorter than what I've done over the weekend because really we're looking at a couple of big things this week. Not only Mars in Capricorn, we'll talk about that. Tomorrow, the sun moves into Pisces. Now, it's not until 11:50 p.m., so technically, I guess we could say that today and tomorrow are the last 2 days of Aquarian season, and then we move into Pisces. Actually, I'm really looking forward to this, just for my own chart's sake. So we'll talk about that tomorrow as the sun moves in. We'll do our little Pisces feature. Love Pisces. Pisces is a great sign, good water sign. Okay, let's talk about fire and earth. Mars, the fieriest. Now, there's another fire element in the chart right now, too, and that is the moon in Sagittarius. It will be there the rest of today. It moves into Capricorn early tomorrow. So here's this moon transiting through fire and Mars just coming out of fire into Capricorn. And there are still, this is one of the most aspected charts you could have. Everything has an aspect right now. The way that the Capricorn stellium is and the moon, just the whole positioning of the sun coming out of Aquarius, going into Pisces. You've got Mercury and Neptune in Pisces, and then just over you have Kyron and Venus in Aries. So it's just the way the whole chart lays out right now is aspecting everything else. So if you have felt a little stirred up over the last about 48 hours, that's kind of what's been the reflection in the middle of the chart with all these aspects. So let's just recount the Capricorn stellium. So now we have Mars at 0 degrees, just broke in. The south node is at 7 degrees. Jupiter is at 17 now. Pluto is at 23, and Saturn is at 26. So this team is in the Capricorn court until the third week of March. So it's either the 21st or 22nd. I can't remember the exact time there, but that's when Saturn moves into Aquarius. That itself is going to be an interesting little time period because Mars will just about be sitting right on top of Pluto. So, ooh. Now, one of the things about Mars being in Capricorn, this is an interesting pairing because Mars is actually exalted in Capricorn. Now, this is interesting because that means Mars is in depression in its opposite sign of Cancer. Do you remember back in the summer when we were going through that real difficult period and these faster moving planets like Mercury and Mars and Venus and the sun and everybody was in Cancer, and when the moon especially came through, boy, it just triggered all that off. Mars was grumpy, Venus was grumpy, and it just was a tough time and a lot of tough energy around all of those planets being in Cancer. Well, now Mars is on the other side of the chart, and it's just all harpy fun love over here in Capricorn. So, now wait a minute. We are dealing with Saturn at home. Mars has just stepped in. And see, this is the other interesting thing about this. So, yes, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, but you have Saturn at home, so that means the two most malefic planets, according to Hellenistic and ancient astrology, are in Saturn's home sign. If you were born at nighttime, we covered this on Saturday, I believe. If you were born during the evening, then Saturn is, according to ancient astrology, according to the roots of this tradition, Saturn is more malefic. If you're born during the daytime, Mars is more malefic. And there's a whole discussion around that we don't have time to go into here. If you want a deep dive in this, I would highly recommend the work of Chris Brennan, the Astrology podcast, and his Hellenistic astrology course. And he wrote a book on it. So there are a lot of resources out there. You can go from just the entry-level price of a book, or you can just listen to his free podcasts, or you can go all the way up to the course and do an incredibly deep dive into this topic. But that's where you will get the best information on that if you would like to know more. Now, you know what I like to do. I like to look for the little nuances of how can we play this energy game to our favor. So with Mars exalted in Capricorn and it getting ready over the next couple of weeks, it'll be in March when this happens, but really when it gets amped up and into the middle of Capricorn where it's going to conjunct Jupiter and then it will cross over Pluto. By then, Saturn will have moved into Aquarius, but Mars will chase Saturn down. We'll have that big Mars-Saturn conjunction. But while we still have Mars in Capricorn, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be setting a lot of intentions and doing a lot of work around like getting one more sweep of Saturn-Pluto while it's all in Capricorn. Now, don't worry, Saturn will be coming back. It just basically sticks its toe in Aquarius, and then it comes right back into Capricorn. We're with this energy, as I've said, all year, but here is yet another opportunity to do this amazingly deep soul work. So while Mars is happy, let's use it to trigger Venus and Pluto and benefically bring up things. I got to tell you guys, I have benefited so much from this Saturn-Pluto thing. Has it been easy? No. Has it been beneficial? Beyond my wildest dreams. So that's what I think we do. That's how I think we play this, is using Mars as that catalyst to really take our soul into some deep territory over the next 30, 40 days of exploration, healing, revelation, and work that has only been available on this planet 500 years ago. We have an amazing opportunity. Let's carpe diem, seize the day, seize the moment, and do the work. Anybody else in? I will see you tomorrow. There's one to think about. Have a good Monday. Bye-bye.